This might be one of the most intriguing drafts in NFL history because anything could happen. The 2022 NFL Draft will be so unpredictable to the point where the teams might not even know who will be available when it's their turn to pick. So, I decided that I will take it upon myself to be the first person to perfectly predict who will be drafted in the first round of this year's NFL Draft. Let's begin with the first overall pick. Now, the Jaguars have a lot of needs heading into this year's draft, but with leadership on offense now in Trevor Lawrence, it's looking like Jacksonville might need some of that on the defensive side as they finished 28th last season in points against. The perfect player to accomplish this goal would be Trayvon Walker, defensive end out of Georgia. I go more in depth on this selection in the previous video if you're curious about the pick. On to the second pick with Detroit on the clock. I know Jared Goff isn't the long-term answer at QB, but honestly, they're better off riding out Jared Goff's contract a bit longer. So I can see them passing on a QB and going for a Michigan man in edge rusher, Aiden Hutchinson, who's coming off of a breakout year. And I think Hutchinson is perfect for that bite their kneecap off mentality. Now, with two of the best defensive players off the board, I think Houston switches it up a bit. I believe the Texans found a gem at QB, Davis Mills, and I think he can be their franchise guy. Now, the first thing a team needs to do after finding a QB that will be the one is protect him, which is why I have the Texans drafting the best offensive tackle in the game at number 3, Evan Neal out of Alabama.
With the Jets on the clock at number 4, they should prioritize talent over need since their second pick is number 10. So while the Jets' biggest need is receiver, I have them passing on one of those, especially with the depth of that position in this year's draft, and instead taking a Hall of Fame type of talent in edge rusher Kayvon Thibodeau with their pick. With the 5th pick in the NFL draft, the crosstown rival New York Giants are up next. And yes, the Giants defense has struggled over the past few years, but I think the best thing they can do with this pick is bolster the O-line. I know Andrew Thomas has been ascending the last 2 seasons, but he needs help. And I think that offensive tackle Akeem Akonwu is the exact type of help they need. Moving on to the 6th pick. Now this is where things start to get really interesting. But before we move on, make sure to like and subscribe because only 2% of you are subscribed. Alright, back to the video. With the Panthers on the clock, I think it's fairly obvious what position is being selected. But the question is, who will it be? After the Sam Darnold fiasco, and reports that the Panthers aren't trading for Baker Mayfield before the draft, it's looking more likely that a QB is heading to Carolina. And that QB is Malik Willis out of Liberty, for the simple fact that he's the best quarterback in the draft. In the 7th pick, we have our first repeat team in the New York Giants, who got the pick from Chicago. Now that their O-line is boosted, they're looking to fill the roster more, so I have them trading back in the draft for more picks, as the New York Giants receive number 22, number 59, and a 2023 second round pick for number 7 and number 147, which go to Green Bay. Now with Green Bay on the clock, I have them selecting none other than Garrett Wilson out of Ohio State, as the Packers look to replace star wideout Davante Adams. Next is Atlanta, who's coming off of their final year with their former franchise cornerstone in Matty Ice. And though a quarterback would be nice here, I don't see another QB being good enough to be picked this early. Plus, Marcus Mariota is a good bridge QB for now. The main reason Matt Ryan struggled in Atlanta is because the defense allowed like 1,000 points a game. So I have them picking the best corner in the draft in Derek Singletary Jr. out of LSU to help this defense into a new era. Following Atlanta is Seattle with the 9th pick. Now that Russell Wilson is gone, this team is in full rebuild mode. Seattle seems to have gotten lucky with one of the best tackles still being available, which is one of their top needs. This would be Charles Cross out of Mississippi State, who only gave up 16 pressures on 719 pass blocking snaps in 2021. Now, the Jets are back on the clock with pick number 10, and after drafting Thibodeau earlier in the draft, I can see them feeling really good about where they stand. So I have them deciding to trade back here with the Ravens, as the Jets now receive pick number 14, 100, and a 2023 third round pick for number 10 and number 146, which go to the Ravens. Now with the Ravens on the clock, I have them getting a steal in Sauce Gardner out of Cincinnati. And though he may be a bit overhyped, I just feel as there's too much talent there to let him slip any further, just like the Lakers did with Lonzo Ball a few years ago. Now that we are out of the top 10, let's speed this up a bit. Through picks number 11 and 15, I have the Washington Commanders reaching and going for a need in linebacker in Devin Lloyd out of Utah to give them a big name besides Chase Young on D. Then, with the number 12 pick, I have Minnesota going for George Karlaftis from Purdue, as he could be the Iron Man the Vikings defense desperately needs. And at 13, the Texans have a second pick, and with this, I could see them going best available and drafting Kyle Hamilton, safety out of Notre Dame, who's coming off of a minor injury that only took him out for the last 5 games of the season. With the Jets back on the clock at number 14, I see them selecting Chris Olave, one of the best route runners at the collegiate level, as the Jets are in desperate need of a wide receiver and have made this very clear in free agency, as they're basically throwing offers at any wide receiver with legs. Next is the Eagles at 15, and with that, I have them drafting Trent McDuffie, corner out of Washington, to add more depth to an already weak position. This man had a phenomenal season last year, not allowing more than 39 yards in a single game. Next, on to picks 16 through 20. I have the Saints going out and taking a chance on Jameson Williams out of Bama, who's coming off of an ACL tear, which is the only reason he even fell this far. And at number 16, they can use this pick to line him up alongside Michael Williams to help out Jameis Winston. At number 17, after bolstering their defense in free agency, I have the Los Angeles Chargers going out and getting a receiver in the first round in Drake London, who will still be on the board. Another wide receiver coming off an injury, this time a broken ankle, which I could see London easily recovering from. With the Eagles back up at 18, I could see them shifting gears and going defense, drafting linebacker Nakobe Dean, who was vital for Georgia on their championship run. At number 19, the Saints will continue to build around Jameis by drafting Bernhard Raimann, who was a converted tight end only 2 years ago. Number 20 will most likely be Pittman star, aka Mr. Tiny Hands, Kenny Pickett, getting drafted by the Steelers, who are looking to fill the hole that future Hall of Famer Big Ben left behind. Following that, in picks number 21 and 26, I have corner Andrew Booth Jr. joining the Patriot Way at number 21, coming off of a stellar 2021 campaign in Clemson. And following him, I have the New York Giants taking Devontae Wyatt, defensive end out of Georgia, to help boost the squad at number 22. Finally, the highest graded center in the draft comes off the board at 23, as I have Tyler Lindenbaum heading west to always sunny Arizona. Following this, I have Jordan Davis coming off the board heading to Dallas to pair alongside DeMarcus Lawrence at pick 24. And with that 25th pick, I have the Buffalo Bills taking little man Sky Moore, receiver out of Western Michigan, to add some depth to the team. At 26, I could easily see Zion Johnson, guard, landing in Tennessee after only allowing 6 pressures this last season. Now let's finish this off with picks 27 through 32. With giant 6'5" defensive end Travis Jones still on the board, I have him easily going to Tampa. Following him would be tackle Tyler Smith from Tulsa, heading up north to protect Hall of Fame QB Aaron Rodgers. Now with Kansas up at number 29, I can easily see them selecting George Pickens, a wide receiver, so that Mahomes has someone to throw to now that Tyreek is gone. And with back-to-back picks, Kansas also takes Kaiir Elam, cornerback. Now onto the home stretch. I see the Bengals taking sleeper pick Trevor Penning, tackle, to protect Joe Burrow after he led the league in getting sacked last season. And finally, with the last pick in the NFL draft of the first round, I have the Detroit Lions selecting Lewis Skine, opting to go with talent over need. And that is my 2022 first round NFL mock draft.